everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. I'm glad you're here because you're listening to the most horsepowerful podcast on the internet. It's the Xbox Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my friend Ryan Turford. He's the weatherman on the Moose, and on our journey today, we're going to talk a little bit about that there Game Pass, and is it still worth it? I don't know. Maybe it is, so jump on into the Xbox Drive. Made it.
No power greater than X.
Hello, Sean Capri.
Ooh, Ryan Turford, my voice barely made it through the intro, my friend.
I chuckled a little bit when you're just like trying to get through it. I could tell the struggle was there.
The struggle is real, my friend. I'm on, it's been a rough week for me health-wise, but you know what? I'm in a good mood. We're playing lots of video games. We're hanging out with good friends. We're even recording this show late at night, middle of the night for some people, early morning for others, you know? So it's all good, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. And welcome on back, of course, to everyone to Xbox Drive After Dark. Of course, you know, this is just the normal podcast. We're just recording it very late this week. Today we had a whole host of things going on today, so I apologize for our tardiness today. Although I will say, shout out to our good friends at Xbox Canada and Muno, which is like a local organization that does esports stuff. They do a whole bunch of events and stuff like that. They had this cool like esports event that we went to tonight called The Mixer.
Cool.
We got to, there was a cool panel there. We got to hear from like a Call of Duty commentator, and then this person that runs behind the scenes at like the Street Fighter events and stuff like that. Like it was a pretty cool little event that happened in Toronto tonight.
I'm glad to hear it, man. Who else did you see? I think you must have saw some of our friends from around the place.
Yeah, I saw Steve Vegvari, of course, from Console Creatures, Luke Williams from Console Creatures as well. Camille, she's kind of all over the map. She was recently the host of the Treehouse over at Nintendo for Tears of the Kingdom.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, man.
So, yeah, lots of cool friends meeting up.
Nice. So what did you guys do? You saw the Call of Duty people?
Mostly hung out. We talked to people, and then and they had a little panel, and then we talked a little bit, and then came home.
Nice.
Oh, and Matt Sawinski was
early
there
night.
I forgot to mention Matt Sawinski was also there.
You didn't forget.
I did forget a little bit.
Okay. I tried to give you an out.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, I'm jealous, man. Toronto is so cool. It was always like that before the pandemic. It seemed like every other week there was something happening, like a Ubisoft thing, or now these Mixer things that are happening. It's, by the way, Mixer, just like that, the name takes me back, dude. Yeah. Mixer.com/insipidghost, you know?
That is the old chestnut that used to be on the show every single week. But yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, it's too bad because we used to get a lot more of those events before, but they're starting to come back, which is nice because this is kind of like a once a month thing that they do.
That's cool.
So I'm definitely going to make sure to be there next month because tonight was pretty fun. And
nice.
And considering the fact, Sean, I actually had to leave my house in order for this to happen too, which is just crazy progress.
And you survived to tell the tale, my friend. Look at you.
Although I didn't go very far because the venue is like a 4-minute walk from my house. So it all
counts. You know what? It counts. I'll take it.
Also, Sean, because I need to delay the show even further, you know, because you're watching on video right now. I don't know if you noticed, but I actually rearranged my anime figures. So now, because sometimes you always see some of my anime figures over the shoulder, I decided to you know, you got an older collection before. But you know, now I decided to, you know, change up the collection a little bit. I got Rinwell from Tales of Arise there. I got this Rei Ayanami that Matt Sawinski brought me from Korea. I got, you know, this 02 from Darling in the Franxx, and then I got another Tales character back there. And then I got my Michael J. Fox autograph pop, and then Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
You did like you are the weatherman on the Moose. You did like you were working the green screen and everything. You got a a high pressure front coming in over here and a low pressure. I don't even know what the hell.
Well, now that you mentioned the weather, Sean, I mean, you know, it's a nice 23 degrees outside. It's clear. There's no chance of precipitation tonight, Sean. It's a nice, cool evening. Thank God, because it was warm in Toronto this
afternoon. How about I double down on you, Ryan Turford? It is currently a thunderstorm outside. It is rumbling the walls of the house. And as I look over at my kids right now, they are being kept awake by this very much. They are tossing and turning in their bed right now. So
I had to put 2 and 2 to bed there, Sean, because you had a monitor there. Because I assumed your kids were just sitting right next to you.
They're just right here. Yeah. Hey, everyone, it's me. Okay, go to sleep.
Exactly. Well, of course, this is the Xbox Drive. We talk about Xbox all the time.
We have so much to talk about. What are we even doing right now? Why are we messing around, dude?
Yeah, exactly. So, folks at home, if you want to support the show, there's a number of awesome ways to do that. If you're watching the show right meow over at youtube.com/carpoolgaming, or if you're watching the video on demand later, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, and then, of course, ring that notification bell to be notified whenever we go live with new videos or whenever we put up a new live stream like this one. Or, maybe go check out some of those pit stop retro gaming videos that I put up this week. I put up a couple of them this week, Sean. One focusing on alien games, like this one right here, Aliens Colonial Marines, that everyone loves.
You do it right now, man.
Or, we also did a retro game treasure this week where I played Fester's Quest on NES, as well as other. So check that out on the channel. Also, if you want this audio feed a little bit earlier, or if you want one big podcast feed with all of our Carpool Gaming podcasts on it, or some exclusive content. Head on over
Not
to
even just
Patreon.
some, a lot. Not just like if you want a ton, basically double or triple the amount of free content. There's almost as much, if not more. Ryan? Yeah.
Absolutely. So head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/carpoolgaming. Throw a little tip in the old tip jar, and out comes content, including the first inaugural episode of Carpool Gaming BTS, which went live this week. So check that out over there on the channel. And then last but not least, John, this is a new thing I want to promote here. Tomorrow night, from the time we're recording this, Thursday, June 1st, if you're listening to this afterwards, Diablo 4 releases, Sean. I don't know.
Yes.
We should mention we will be going live with Diablo 4 on the Twitch channel tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, twitch.tv/Carpool Gaming Live. Make sure to come hang out. I will actually be hanging out in the Discord voice channel, so you can come hang out there. Or if you have Diablo 4 and you want to play with please us. Come by and let me know. Hit me up because I will be writing the stream. Sean, you were kind of on the fence. Are you going to be there tomorrow night, or are you going to come by Friday? Because we announced, by the way, we're also coming back Friday morning, 10 a.m. as well for Diablo.
Yes. I'm glad you asked, because yes, we need to kind of get these details out there. And we don't necessarily want a spreadsheet to put out there so people can follow along. But basically, you're starting on Thursday night. What did you say, 9 p.m. Eastern?
9 p.m. Eastern time. That's when the game goes live. So.
Okay. So I can be there probably shortly after that. Like, that's kind of bedtime, and tonight I'm doing this instead of putting the kids to bed. So tomorrow night will probably be my turn to put the kids to bed. So I'll join in a little bit afterwards. I'll start up the game, try to make sure I get into a lobby or whatever else. And then, you start up the lobby, you start up the stream. I'll join you afterwards. I'm sure there will be at least one or two other people joining us. Yeah. But the way that we're doing this, Ryan, is we don't have any special access. We don't have any like free games or anything like that. Like, we paid for these games.
We paid
the most possible amount, man. We got the pre-order, so you get these extra days. I think it's worth it. I'm very excited. I was hovering, so here we are. Thursday night, I'll play with you a couple hours. Friday morning, you're starting at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah. Early for you, Ryan. How are you going to handle that, man?
Look, I'm gonna be awake somehow. Coffee's gonna help.
I mean, Diablo is the ultimate motivator. But look at you. You went outside today. You're getting up early on Friday. Like, who am I even podcasting with here, man?
I don't even know anymore, Sean. But yeah, so
love to see
and then I know you're going to be taking over the stream later in the day, because I'm going to have to actually eventually leave to go to work.
So I'll hook up with you after a few hours of you streaming, and then we'll do a bit of a handoff. Seth is going to join us as well. I know a bunch of other people have this, so yeah, it's going to be a good weekend. And this is the second time now. Zelda was the first. Now this is Diablo. Let's celebrate day one exciting games that we actually like. Only the select ones, though, Ryan, because I've been on a diatribe lately. So I'm totally a hypocrite with this. I bought Zelda day one, and I talked a lot about that on the Nintendo Drive yesterday. People should check it out. And here I am buying Diablo at a high price to play day one. So who knows, man? This could be just poop on my face,
The way you just said that, Sean, by the way, made me think of the merchant from Resident Evil being like, "Oh, I'll buy that at a high price."
That was the intention. That was the reference. Mm-hmm.
That was the reference. Yeah. So we'll be playing tomorrow. So if anyone else has the game and you want to play with us, let me know. We can have a party of 4 people, by the way, Sean. So
not a party of 5. No Matthew Fox. Everybody but Matthew Fox is invited.
That's not how this works, Sean. Anyways, let's grab
Nev Campbell is invited, okay? Not Matt Fox.
Sean,
Okay, does he actually have a party of 5?
I have a Nev Campbell signed pup from the craft.
Nice. Okay, yeah, close enough. All right, I'll take it. Yep, yeah, I like it.
Anyways, let's grab our trucks, pop them in. It's time for the playlist. And Sean, you played a game this week that wasn't Tears of the Kingdom. So tell me about that.
Well, I think the last time you and I chatted, Ryan, I was 2/3 of the way through Dead Space. I think something like that. Yeah. I am now. What's the fraction? More than 2/3, like more than 3/3, probably
4/5,
6/3. No, because I played it twice. It's like 8/3 through.
Okay,
I played like more than 2.5 playthroughs of Dead Space to just clean up a bunch of chivos, and I wasn't very smart about it, to be honest with you. I should have been able to do it all in about 2 playthroughs. But started on like regular medium difficulty and then did New Game Plus, which I just loved, like bringing all of my weapons over, all my upgrades. And there were some things that didn't carry over, which made the New Game Plus a little kind of interesting as well.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know where to start, because where I want to go is the end, which is I did so much achievement hunting that I actually started to dislike my experience a little bit.
Okay.
Versus like the journey up until that point where I'm like, this game is so great. And I loved being able to play it over again, which I almost never do. This might have been my very first New Game Plus. So to know like what is coming and to just kind of see that game play through in a shorter time frame, especially on those easier difficulties. And it just seemed like a fluid experience for Isaac. Like I kind of watched him land on the Ishiguro and then like do the thing and then get off planet. Spoilers, he survives.
He makes it to Dead Space 2, surprisingly.
But it's not like so many other games and stories that we participate in where like the events happen over months at a time or whatever. It's like this is kind of God of War-esque, where the camera doesn't really leave his back. It kind of just shows you beginning to end, really doesn't time skip or anything. And
the crazy thing is it was like that in the original game too. The only difference was you had way more load screens in the original game. But otherwise, for the most part, you're right. Like it was mostly like one cut kind of all the way along the way. Just the old consoles couldn't really handle that kind of thing back when the original game was developed, which is why they went for kind of that approach with the remake, which is kind of
Yep. So first playthrough was plasma cutter only. Second playthrough, I started getting you get 30 kills with each weapon. So that was kind of fun. I will say like plasma cutter is the best weapon though. Well, like really out of all of them. So it was good. I like the achievements that like you kind of have to do 2 playthroughs. You'll never be able to get that one achievement for just playing through plasma cutter if you've got 30 kills with another weapon, obviously. But there was one, Ryan, that really made me mad, and this is the one that kind of ruined it for me. It was like max out all of your gear and your weapons and all that kind of stuff. And I thought I understood what it was asking. Like there's ways to upgrade your suit, there's ways to upgrade your weapons, totally understand. But there is one side quest that is very long, and that's what took me all the way through to the like 2/3 of the third playthrough. You have to follow this one side quest that gives you an upgrade at the end of that. And that's what took me like that extra amount of time. Like, oh my gosh, what have I signed up for? And I was questioning my own sanity, Ryan, going, this achievement that I had been working towards is 150 gamer score. I'm like, can I just leave it? And I couldn't just leave it. I couldn't.
Sometimes it's okay though, Sean, to just let it go. Like at the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, when Indy's kind of hanging off the cliff, with the Ark of the, not the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail there, trying to hold on to it for dear life. Sometimes it's okay just to let it go, Sean. You can let it go. It's fine.
I couldn't do it. The thing that I did let go was beat the game on impossible difficulty. I didn't even unlock impossible difficulty, which I think you have to play hard and then
you do.
Yeah. Like I didn't even do that. And I think there was one more, but I got all but 2. And I'm good with that, Ryan. It will go back to the library and I will probably never play it ever again.
But you had a great, couple playthroughs with it by the time.
I really did.
The main thing.
Yeah. I really enjoyed myself. Now, I did fire up Dragon Ball Kakarot, but you'll notice that it's not in the notes, Ryan.
Right? Yeah.
I played about 45 seconds of this game,
and you're like, no, for you.
I just don't know about these controls, dude. Like, I don't.
And
I did this before. I've done this before with Dragon Ball games. Like, is Dragon Ball FighterZ the only one that I should be playing? Do we get a Telltale style Dragon Ball game? Because I think I just like the story. Like, I don't like the flow of the fighting and the moving up and down and the charging up your chi or key or whatever. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
did not have a good first
That's
impression.
something that Donnie and I because Donnie and I did the review together.
And you guys liked it.
No. So Donnie liked the game much more than I did. I still thought it was okay, but I had problems with it. Most of which being number one, the controls, and number two, the combat was very samey throughout the experience, and I wasn't a fan of that for 50 hours of that basically.
Oh, yeah,
imagine the combat you did in the first 45 seconds, Sean. Imagine doing that for 50 hours.
Yeah, that's not. I don't know, man.
Whereas,
I don't think so.
Donnie, made some great points in that review, mentioning that he's much more of a fan of Dynasty Warriors, and Dynasty Warriors is very similar, but without kind of the elevation stuff that we're talking about with Dragon Ball. So it makes sense as to why he would definitely like that more than I did. But it was definitely it was a kind of a mixed experience for me too. But I kind of pushed through it because I do really love Dragon Ball. And there also just wasn't a lot of other competition when it came out for my time. So it just happened to be, because I think it came out in the January of the year it came out in, and there wasn't really anything else releasing around it. So I'm like, well, I have lots of time to pour into this. So I will just focus in on this game and kind of get through this. So.
Well, I think where I land on this, Ryan, because you may have heard, I've also been watching Dragon Ball Super. I rented a bunch of DVDs from the library, and that's all good. Like, the fighting in the show it's almost incomprehensible. It's so fluid and so fast. And then you get to these games where it's so like 1 + 2 = move. And then I have to think about what is next. There should be it should be more combo based. I feel like it should feel way more like a Killer Instinct kind of thing, where you almost do a set of moves and then you just unleash a series of stuff. So you shouldn't have to be like one move equals a button push and vice versa kind of thing. That's too slow. Dragon Ball fighting is way faster and you can't even see them doing it half the time. So that's what I want to feel like that. I don't want to feel like this archaic fighting system in Dragon Ball. I don't know if it kind of enhances to that later on in the game. Doesn't sound like it at all.
No.
So you become more powerful as Goku, but you still feel slow and clunky.
Well, it's also an RPG though, Sean. So you have to remember you have to level Goku up throughout the journey. And just because Goku gets more powerful, the enemies get more powerful too. But you're not you don't really have faster attacks or anything like that.
That's where Xenoblade would be almost like an MMO style fighting. Is that what Xenoverse is?
That's we're basically Xenoverse is very different. Where Xenoverse actually plays similarly to Kakarot, actually, as far as the combat.
Okay, that's what I remembered. I think I would like something like a Xenoblade though, where it's just like an auto attack, and then or they're auto
doing a whole bunch of punches, but then you're kind of throwing in the Kamehameha every once in a while.
Totally. Yes, that. Yes, please make that. Yes, that's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, actually, some of the older Dragon Ball games, going all the way back to the NES, for example, the Dragon Ball RPGs that were there, kind of worked that way. So it's not the first time that they've actually done that kind of thing before, but it's definitely in the modern era they don't do that. Even something like Dragon Ball Fighters, which is a very fast game, they don't do that with that. Whereas very much pressing the punch and kick button and then punching, corresponding with it. But definitely, of all the games, I feel like that's much more closest to the show versus anything, more than anything, is Dragon Ball Fighters, which
Speaking
is also my
fighting
favorite.
Games, Ryan.
Segue.
Street Fighter 6.
Oh,
it's coming.
I know. I
Reviews,
need to find a way to clear some of my schedule to play it, but I don't know when it's going to get played, which is too bad because that game sounds amazing and everything I want it to be, considering the fact that, I already knew it was going to be really good after playing that beta. But then reading the glowing reviews about the game, I'm like,
it reviewed better than Diablo, dude. It's sitting 94 on OpenCritic. It's doing so good. I'm logging into my public library here.
I also like the fact that you're mentioning this when Mr. Badbit joins us in the chat. Since
I'm not talking about it. All right, we're not addressing this.
We're not engaging it. Well,
nope, don't care.
Anyway,
we should be talking. We should be talking. I don't even know why we give it any airtime, anyways, Brian. We should be talking about the various carpool gaming community fantasy leagues that are going on. We got two of them. We do this better than anybody. We got 2 gigantic leagues, and everybody's participating. So yeah, maybe we talk about
the update quickly for League A, Sean, is that the Weathermen on the Moose are currently leading that league, by the way, in Carpool Gaming League A, 83.01 points. My big games, of course, because of course I'm winning, so I'm highlighting myself, include Dead Space Remake, Fiat Rhythm Final Bar Line, Fire Emblem Engage, Atelier Ryza 3 are among some of the hits. Although I'm running low on games, John, because I've got 3 games left to release this year. I've got Silent Hill 2 Remake. I got Master Detective Archives of Rain Code, which looks awesome. And then Mortal Kombat 1. I have that as well.
Nice one. That was a good pickup, man. You are crushing. You got everybody in League A really just trembling. Handsome Hambone Johnny is in first place in League B with projected to have 100 points, actually. Currently sitting at 58 points in first place. And just the closest to that is Drellesh, actually, with 41 points. What has Hambone Johnny even got? Oh, he got Resident Evil 4 Remake. Yeah. Couple 70s, though, man. Forza Horizon 5
is coming up, though. And Plucky Squire.
Is it coming? Is it coming, though? Or is it? CSRs? Is it coming?
It's supposed to come out in August. They already announced it.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Locklith just picked up Street Fighter 6. Well, she didn't just pick it up, but it just launched here. So gets her a nice 92 points and makes up for Forspoken. Locklith, she's auto Locklith. So this was all auto pick for her.
Yeah.
So she's crushing it, obviously.
Again, she didn't make the mistake like that I did, because in the Carpool Gaming Host League, Sean, I have Redfall. And get me negative 11 points because of course.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Nasty Boots got Diablo 4.
In our league?
In League B. Yeah, Nasty Boots got Diablo 4. It's the only game that's scored for him so far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got the GOAT of the game, Sean. He's got, I'm Jesus Christ. Good.
Where's mine? I can't even find mine. I had my top pick and I was second overall. I got Zelda in this one. I didn't go first. First pick overall went to Tech Mike, who picked Fire Emblem Engage, leaving The Legend of Zelda for me. So picked up 33 points there, which was real good. My third pick, Ryan Turford.
Redfall. I saw
Redfall. What was I thinking? What was I thinking?
What were we both thinking?
I was never excited about this game. I don't know what was happening, dude. I thought at the very least, I don't even know what I was thinking.
No, the real question is, because you have unannounced mainline 3D Mario platformer, does that come out this year? Does Nintendo actually?
I'm starting to doubt it.
Mario 3D platformer. Well, actually, do you think there's a Nintendo Direct next week?
No. Is that the rumor that there is happening?
There's no rumor. This is usually E3 time, so I'm like,
no. Seth and I talked about it. Like maybe they'll do a partner event, like a third party kind of thing by the end of June. I think the one it feels very fresh. They just did one in February and gave us everything until basically Pikmin 4 is the last, I think, big first party specific date. I think we're good. Maybe some third party stuff.
This is pertinent information because tomorrow afternoon, I am doing the RPG Cave RPG predictions for next week. And we didn't need to know if there's a Nintendo Direct, because of course Nintendo Directs have RPGs at them. So just throwing that out there. Well, moving the show along, Sean.
All right.
As for me, because I have to talk about.
Oh yeah, you're playing games.
Number one, I played more Rock Band 4. I got it right here. Still awesome, still amazing.
What are you playing? Are you playing guitar? What are you doing?
I play guitar. I mostly play. Actually, my main instrument in Rock Band is bass.
Tell me you're slapping the bass. Yes,
I'm always slapping the bass on Expert, playing pretty much every song on Expert, and just having a ball. I Stand Alone. I got I got Garbage. I got Lacuna Coil. I got Metallica. I've got all kinds of great music in Rock Band.
Nice,
because I have like 560 songs in Rock Band, Sean.
Man.
And I also now that I'm back on the Rock Band train, Sean, I saw that they've been adding a whole bunch of DLC for the last 2 years to Rock Band, and I'm kind of tempted to pick some of that up. Because there's a lot of good music.
I love it.
But we got to talk about this other game, Sean, because I streamed it on last week on the Twitch channel, and that is James Cameron's Dark Angel, my committed relationship game. Again, I mentioned this last week's show. I wanted to hold off playing it because I wanted to play it on stream, because I wanted my first kind of impressions of this game to be with the community. And boy howdy, this is a game. It's like a brawler. And there are like really bad stealth mechanics in this game. And there are levels where they go on for half an hour, and if you die, you start the whole level over again. But at the same time, it actually got me, like, believe it or not, more interested in the show, because it actually seems like a cool show. Because I've never seen Dark Angel, Sean. I've never watched that show. Of course, with Jessica Alba and produced by James Cameron. So I'm actually interested in kind of watching the show at this point, which is weird to think about, but I think there's some good things in the game and some bad things. But I haven't finished it yet because I've kind of been waiting to play it before before Diablo 4, which of course happens tomorrow. So we'll see. Tomorrow maybe I'll play some more Dark Angel, but I'm excited. I'm excited to finish it. I'm like halfway through it.
The early 2000s vision and versions of the not so distant future was hilarious, by the way. Like I think of like Perfect Dark about this, and the same thing with the Dark Angel that I saw you play. Like what was the setting, like 20, 30 years in the future, which would be about now?
2029.
Oh my gosh.
6 years from now.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at.
Like all kinds of like robot soldiers and stuff, and like, oh my god. Yeah, but
I can't we got to do something about that. Like all the movies that we grew up with, like have we reached the dates? Like Back to the Future, for example, we have. Like when they went to the future, that we've experienced that date. Like the Jetsons, I think we've been there
approaching
too.
That, but we're not there yet.
Or it was George Jetson's like birthday or something like that. Like I think we passed that.
Like I think we're past George Jetson's birthday, and I think in the next like 20 or 30 years, we're living the actual Jetson state. We're past Judgment Day.
Judgment Day, of course. Terminator. Yeah.
The
world's already over.
Destroyed the planet.
No fate.
We're actually we're only 20 more years away from matching up with the Prometheus date. So the movie Prometheus
terrifying.
with Ridley Scott, the Alien prequel, we're almost there, Sean. So
I love it.
We're getting there.
So good.
We're getting there. But I played other games that I want.
Okay, what else did you play?
So during that live stream, we actually watched the Alone in the Dark preview special that they did, that THQ Nordic did. But they actually shadow dropped a demo that evening for the game, which was the prologue to it, where you don't play as either of the two characters, because one of the things they revealed during the showcase is it's like Resident Evil 2, where we have two different protagonists that play through the game slightly differently, and you kind of choose them through the experience, but you actually play as a third character in the prologue, and it kind of sets up the events and kind of the tone and mood for the main game. And this demo was actually really good. Like it really was like kind of scary, intense. You actually play as a child. I think she's like 11 years old, and she's in this big house by herself, wondering why no one's there, and there's some spooky monsters in there. But it was actually like a really good demo, and again, I felt like I did a great job of setting up like what the tension and the feeling of the overall game is going to be. So This is a game that was not on my radar at all. Like the last Alone in the Dark game on Xbox 360 was horrible. So this was a game I was not really looking forward to, but between that showcase and it seemingly having a good showing there, and then this demo that propped up, like I'm actually pretty excited for Alone in the Dark coming out this October. So coming out just in time for Halloween.
I'm not surprised that I'm surprised at what you're saying, but I'm not surprised that you're excited about this. I feel like you brought this up months ago when it was originally revealed. It was never going to be on my radar. So it was at least on your radar enough to acknowledge the original game and this stuff that's happening now. And now to even play, like, I think it was on your radar more than you're kind of letting on here.
Well, it's on my radar in the sense that I was paying, I saw that it existed, but because I kind of do that with everything.
But now it's like on your radar.
But now it's like officially on my list of games I want to play.
Okay. You swipe right on this.
It slid into those DMs, Sean.
Yeah.
How that works. But
well, I'm glad you are, man. Like I love that about the games that you play, and really across all the stuff on Carpool. Like that's not what I'm going to be talking about ever. But you bring it up like that setting and that premise sounds great to me. Like it really, like, from what we saw in the gameplay demonstration and then what we played in the demo, it really reminds me of Resident Evil 2, which gets me excited because I love Resident Evil 2 a whole lot. So nice.
As long as they can nail the final game, like I think this is actually going to be like,
dang, dude,
these
survival horror games, like this is like Silent Hill. Is Silent Hill's coming back? Is that real?
Silent Hill remake is coming back. Yeah, we'll probably actually see it at Summer Game Fest.
Dead Space, you got your Resident Evils, all the remakes, all this stuff, man. This is awesome. Good times.
Lots of good stuff. And then the last thing I want to give a shout out to, which of course, not actually a game, but I have to, give it a shout out anyway. So, but it's game adjacent. So
just life.
Summer Games Done Quick. I always mention it.
Oh yeah, nice.
It's happening this week. This is basically like a charity speedrunning event that happens for the entire week. They don't stop streaming for 7 days straight, raising money for Doctors Without Borders, which is an organization that helps doctors around the world. And I've been watching this all week and seeing some crazy speed runs. One of the craziest ones actually was Hi-Fi Rush. There was a speed run for that where they beat the game in 2 hours. But it was just like ridiculous with some of the moves they had to pull off to play that game. Or there was a speed run in 2 hours time of the entire Elder Scrolls anthology of games. So the first Elder Scrolls game through Skyrim, they played them all within 2 hours, which was kind of crazy. So a lot of really fantastic things happening over on SGDQ. And it's been really fun to watch. I always really enjoy it every time it comes up. So just wanted to give it the special shout out as well. If people haven't been paying attention, you should maybe check it out this week if you have some time. But anyway,
they're live right now, actually. Not that I want people to like go on over there, but twitch.tv/games done quick. They're playing The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask right now. It's in front of 61,000 people. Not that they need our promotion.
Well, not only that, it's a randomizer, Sean. So it's not even traditional Majora's Mask where all the items are like randomly placed in the world and you don't know where any of them are placed. So you have to figure it all out.
People should check it out. Like obviously the charity thing we're big believers in, but even just that notion, Ryan, like the interesting ways that you can see these people play, like they're top tiered. Absolutely. Like, I don't know the last time that you ever got excited to watch people be very good at video games. I've gotten so used to podcasting and Twitch streaming, just hanging out and playing. But like the pro gamer thing it's interesting to watch, dude. It's really, I don't know. I'd never achieve it. So it's fun to watch.
Same here. This is the type of thing that I would never do myself, but it's so cool to watch. But anyways, Sean, let's shift into cruise control. Oh, we got a cruise control topic of the week.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no breaking news this week.
No breaking news this week. We don't got time for the breaking news this week.
No. Well, I mean, there's a quick thing of the games coming to Game Pass, which inspires the cruise control.
Well, it's actually in this topic anyway.
There you go. So that's all we're doing.
And the Sony Showcase stuff, which we're not going to talk about tonight either. But
that's Spidey though. Oh, Spider-Man. That Spider-Man game is going to have me reading thousands of pages of Spider-Man comics. By the way, that's all.
Maybe, but I mean, you underestimate how excited I am for Metal Gear Solid coming back to Xbox, Sean. That's all. That's all it is.
Yep. Just drinking all that river water up in there. The creek he was hiding in.
Well, there's that. But actually, the original Metal Gear Solid looks like it might be coming to Game Pass for not Game Pass, for Xbox.
Oh man,
for the first time.
Though. How many the 12 games we're coming out of? Look at us backing up into breaking news. 12 games featured at the PlayStation Showcase coming to Xbox. Xbox coming out with fire. People thought that was very, I don't know, like they were spitting fire with that tweet, Ryan. Do you think so? Do you think that was attitude? Do you think it was just actual factuals?
I don't think it was I think it was more actual factual, but I can see why it might be construed that way.
Do you want to talk about that at all? Like, we don't have a hard out. Like, we can. Do you want to discuss those games that are coming?
We could, but I didn't prepare a list, and we're half an hour into the show.
I've got the tweet here. Eventually, it's coming. It's coming, Ryan Turner.
I mean, again, I think the most important ones, of course, Metal Gear Solid Delta and the Metal Gear Collection. Now, the Metal Gear Collection not officially confirmed for Xbox, but they said modern platforms. So probably Switch, probably Xbox, probably PlayStation. And then we also got other games eventually when Sean has it load.
I can start talking about it. Yeah, Immortals, Ghost Runner, Marathon. I feel like Marathon was actually one of the big ones there, Ryan.
I mean, it's actually the most viewed trailer from that entire showcase. But that is actually a big one because Bungie actually bringing back that old IP and actually doing a multiplayer only game that's probably not going to be live service. Like, it sounds like it's just going to be standard PvP. Which would be cool.
I'd love to see how many of these maybe come to Game Pass. Is it possible for Alan Wake 2 to come to Game Pass, Ryan Turfer, do you think?
It's an Epic. Like, Epic's publishing that game. I don't think they'll put it on Game Pass.
Maybe Plucky Squire coming to Game Pass?
That I could see. I could see that.
Maybe Court's pick of the litter. Maybe Court's pick of the kitty litter. Ryan, Cat Quest. Pirates of the Caribbean.
No. Actually,
the kitty litter.
Looking at that list, the game that I actually think is most likely to come to Game Pass is Talos Principle 2.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That seems like a Game Pass game if I've ever seen one. But also, I think that, like, Talos Principle 1 was on Game Pass originally. Like, when it came to Xbox, I think it came to Game Pass day and date. So,
well, the big breaking news, this is news, but the meta news about it, Ryan, is that exclusives no longer matter on PlayStation. You heard it here first. I actually didn't even hear it first.
That's not true because Foam Stars is all exclusive to PlayStation, Sean.
You can have it. They can have it, man. Are you kidding me? What an abomination. Anyway,
Good God.
Right, that's how I just wanted to bring that up real quick. There are games coming to Xbox that PlayStation had at their
also showcase. Alan Wake 2, by the way, looks really good, and I'm excited.
Dude. Yes, that game could pull a 180 on me because you know me, I'm not stoked on Alan Wake. I don't think it's one of the best 360 exclusives. I keep wondering what all this hype is about, but they are taking it up a level. Like they're totally, was it Remedy? They're a different company
Remedy,
now.
Yeah.
It's a different company. There's all these, I feel like Remedy or something close to that. There's like 4 developers that are like that. Who did 1886 Order 1886?
Oh,
Ready at Dawn.
Yeah.
I don't know why those occupy the same spaces.
I don't know either, because God of War Chains of Olympus was a pretty good game, Sean.
There you go. Who knows?
God of War Ghost of Sparta as well. Probably the best God of War.
I'm thinking there's somebody else, but anyway.
Yeah.
Exclusives don't matter on PlayStation. Games that are coming to Xbox, it's a 90% crossover between the two consoles. Stop fighting about stuff. Let's just play some video games.
Absolutely, except for Foam Stars. But let's move on to Cruise Control. So we're going to talk about Xbox Game Pass 2023 in review. So we decided, it's the mid-year point of the year, Sean. We got to take a look at the year in Game Pass so far and see if we've been getting what we should be getting on Game Pass.
In the year of Game.
I was gonna say what our $1 worth, Sean, but maybe it's not all about
what
dues
or $1 worth. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Because I'd buy that for $1. Famous.
Well, yeah, but as we've been talking about Game Pass over the last little while, every month or every what is it, bi-weekly or so, we get to talk about the games that are coming to Game Pass, the games that are leaving Game Pass. I have been a little bit worried about this, right? I think you are as well. I think that the narrative around Game Pass has soured a little bit. Obviously, over Xbox, the narrative has soured quite a little bit. And I wanted to do a little exercise with you just to see, is there any truth to that? Is it just a bunch of people talking and we start believing all the things? Or maybe we should have a look at this here Game Pass and see, is this a good thing, Ryan? Has it been good this year? Has it been terrible? Are we going to grade this thing? And spoiler alert, we've done some of this research before tonight, about 14 minutes before we went live. Yeah. And it's better than I would have thought. I came into this, the whole reason this conversation came to light was I was like, man, I don't think Game Pass is really doing it anymore. What if it slips into the ways of games with gold, which is an abomination? And
there's a reason we don't even talk about that on the show.
We don't even talk about it. What are those games even? But I think that's where some of the latest releases of titles on Game Pass, that's where people have been. Meanwhile, it seems like people are celebrating everything over on PlayStation Plus and that godforsaken style that they did over there with their 3 tiers. Who even can handle or understand their system? But there's
the one tier that barely gets anything. It gets
they're good games over there.
3 $10 games in that premium tier over there on PlayStation.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's what it was last month. Because I think because they got an old collection, which was $10 on PSN, and then 2 PSP games, which were also $10
for the top tier. Yeah, no, I took mine down. I'm on the middle one, the extra.
I actually went all the way down to the very bottom, Sean. I'm just on Essential at this point for PlayStation Plus. No free games, but so
that's let's kind of a crossover episode of some sort to compare the two. But we're not going to compare the two. That's all we're comparing. We're doing.
That's for the PlayStation Drive.
I thought you just spit on the floor.
Well, I didn't get to my microphone mute button in time.
Got it. Just wanted to clarify that was not a spit on the floor.
No, it was not a spit on the floor. So let's talk about this. And on our list, we basically just grouped all the months together and wrote out all the Game Pass releases. So I figure we can even talk about what had the best month and kind of see the trend, because I can understand your mindset a little bit, Sean, looking at the June releases as an example for Game Pass.
Yes.
There ain't nothing exciting in there for me personally.
And kind of May.
Yeah. But
May was kind of mid. This is the thing. We'll get into this.
Yeah.
And what we'll get to, I think, too, Ryan, is I have top picks for each month. And it's just kind of what I think is interesting, because you play such different games, is that I imagine we're going to have different sort of top picks per month.
Yeah. Although they might be more similar than you think. And we're not going to go through every single game, because otherwise we
definitely not.
Yeah. So let's start with January, Sean, because actually from my point of view, I actually think January is probably the strongest month we've had on Game Pass this year.
But, yep. I would agree with that, actually. Yeah.
Yep. The standouts being Persona 3 and 4,
yep.
Monster Hunter Rise, Hi-Fi Rush, GoldenEye, Age of Empires 2 coming to console, and then JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Brawl, which is actually a really good fighting game.
Okay, but we can divide the ones that are bangers and the ones that are honorable mentions.
That's a banger, Sean.
It's a
ask
you put it right next to Persona 3 and 4. Come on, man.
Persona 3 and 4 are big ones, Sean. In fact,
Age of Empires 2, I would also categorize sort of in that like special category of PC dorks, like RTS.
But it was
like
the console version though. That's why I made sure to put it there. It's not even for PC.
And that's just it. Like that's why it's definitely not in that banger category. As much as I know a lot of people really love that word. That game, I don't know. It has no interest for me. Like mine's a very personal. I'm taking a very personal kind of style to this. Not thinking of what other people would play. I think other people would like to play Mortal Shell. Personally, I didn't love it. That game came out in that month. Yep. But yeah, I agree with you on the top 4, or I guess 5. For sure. Persona 3 and 4, Monster Hunter Rise, Hi-Fi Rush, and GoldenEye 007. Like I played that game. I didn't just say I was going to. I actually played that game. So that was.
I also played Persona 3. So I definitely played a game in that month too.
And the other thing I want to get out of this too, Ryan, I'm sorry for interrupting. These games are still available on Game Pass. The notion of like the conversation that surrounds Game Pass is so these are the games that are coming out now and they get that one moment in time and that's it. Like the games that came out in January are still here in June. Like you can still play these. So it still matters. And I don't know. I feel like this is something that both PlayStation and Xbox, and maybe even to a certain degree, maybe Netflix too, or others, how are the games or movies in that case that come out before still celebrated? How are they still being kind of pushed? And I don't know if that's done well enough. Maybe we're part of the problem. No, maybe the platform does a good job.
The whole system is the part of the problem. No, you're right, because they don't really celebrate the actual library that's there. A lot of times the posts are about here are the games that are coming, but we don't really see like here are games we like that are still on Game Pass that you might not know are still there. Kind of thing. Even
on like Twitter, like do they not have 2 separate Twitter accounts for Xbox Game Pass for PC and Xbox Game Pass for console? Do. Like I don't even know if it's called Xbox Game Pass for PC anymore.
It actually is. Well, at least the Twitter code, that's what it's called.
Anyways, yeah, I just feel like why wouldn't they be able to have like a tweet or 2 or 3 or 6 every day of this game is awesome and it's on Game Pass? As an example, I'll jump down to like we'll go to the next month right away here, but like, did you know that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is on Game Pass? Because nobody's talked about that in forever.
Yeah.
And that game is great. So why don't people talk about that? It's wild to me.
Especially because it would be key information to put out there with Jedi Survivor.
Yes. This year. Yes. Like at least because I've been talking all year about, I wish they had more big third-party games. Apparently that's just not possible, but there are there's other ways to kind of jump onto that. If there's a Star Wars game that's coming, you've got the first one in that series, by the way, and then a whole bunch of other great Star Wars games. Yeah. Celebrate Star Wars, like May the 4th, Star Wars Day on Game Pass.
They have Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith in there on the original Xbox.
Yes, Battlefront, Lego Star Wars. They got all this stuff. There's tons of Star Wars on Game Pass. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. We shouldn't be doing these shows late because now I'm not going to bed. My heart rate is way through the roof. Yeah, no, it's at
least your kids will finally sleep probably at some point.
They are sleeping. Ellie's like half off the bed though.
Aw. Yeah. Well, let's talk about Febtober then, because you've been doing a little bit. So obviously we got, Jedi Fallen Order, of course. Madden NFL 23, of course, came out that month. Atomic Heart was a big day and day release that people didn't care about because that game wasn't great. Soul Hackers 2 was a game that came out last year that I liked very much, and it came to Game Pass as well, finally. But those were kind of the biggest games in February. There were a lot of games, but not like huge standouts or anything like that. And of course, Atomic Heart was Atomic Heart.
Yeah, I'm even lighter on this list than you, Ryan. I think Madden NFL is just a standard but very good game, and I think like good value. Usually, you can wait a few months after that game comes out. Just wait for it to come into Game Pass or EA Play.
Yeah, all the sports games are like that, which we'll learn as we do this. Continue to finish this process.
So it's basically like Madden, which I wish I played more, and one that actually captures my attention that I didn't get to personally was SD Gundam Battle Alliance. Like there was something about that game that, I don't know, it caught my attention, but that's it. So February was like, January's great, February.
That's too bad, Sean, because I will say Soul Hackers 2 is actually a really good RPG. One that, a lot of people missed when it came out. It's now, super cheap because it goes on sale all the time. But it's kind of almost like a beginner's Persona game where, it's only 20 hours. Like it's a short RPG when you compare it to other RPGs.
Yeah.
It's a turn-based game and it's got like a cool story and stuff like that. Like I really like that game. It just got, okay reviews, but it wasn't, amazing and over the top, which is why like picking it up and playing in Game Pass is probably the best way to do it. Because Garrett, for example, he waited and played it in Game Pass and he really enjoyed it as an example. So
that's I wish it caught my attention more. I did play Hot Wheels Unleashed, and that game sucks, dude.
Yeah,
I think that game controls like ass. I think it's awful.
Did you see today that they actually announced the sequel, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, coming out later this year?
That's great. Like it's one of those games that because it touches so many other brands and IP and things like it should excite me tremendously. But I think I just think the control scheme is brutal on that. Right. I might be being too harsh on it, but
no, it's a game that exists. It's fine. It's
nothing
to write home about.
March though, Ryan. March. Woo! Yeah, hold on March, your butts.
There's like 6 games that came out in March on Game Pass, but they were all bangers, or at least good ones. F1 2022, of course.
What?
No, I'm kidding. Wulong Fallen Dynasty, Guilty Gear Strive, Ni no Kuni 2, MLB The Show 23. That's all you need to know, pretty much, from March.
Yeah. Not okay. The honorable mention, as far as I will go with honorable mention for F1 22, I wish I was into MLB The Show. I know a lot of people play that, so it was and it continues to be a good get for Game Pass. Wulong was the one that sort of like captured much of our attention, I would say, prior to its release. And I feel like once it hit, I don't know, were the reviews just not that good?
It was an 80, like a low 80s game.
Yeah, why didn't we talk more about it?
I talked about it because I played it.
I know. I'm sorry. I mean, like
the community. You're right. Like I feel like a lot of people around us didn't talk about Wulong that much. I think also Bad Bit played Wulong as well, but I think like him and I were like the 2 people talking about it that I saw on Twitter. Because like you're right, like it didn't really catch on the way that I thought it probably would, especially because it was on Game Pass. But it also mentioned though, on the Wulong Twitter account though, that there was a high number of people who played it on Game Pass. So it actually sounds like it was a big success on Game Pass. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but I think it was like 4 or 5 million people they said played it on Game Pass, which is a pretty substantial number.
That's a pretty big number.
Yeah.
1 in every 4 people who have an Xbox, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I think it sold 1 million copies, but 4 million people played it on Game Pass.
That's pretty good. Like this is a month that I don't know. I'm having trouble kind of reconciling this one, Ryan, because I actually think all these games, it's not very many, but I actually think all these games have prominence and they should demand attention. F1 22, it's not like F1 is a niche sport and that nobody cares about. It's a gigantic interest there. Wulong, I think, is a gamer's game, is kind of the one of the bunch. Guilty Gear is kind of, I feel like a Ryan Turford kind of game.
It's one of the best fighting games that's been released in the last 10 years.
Like Valheim we need a term for like all the people who play games that aren't us. Like all the gigantic games, like the Roblox, the Minecrafts, the Fortnites, like
the games with the building.
The games, is that what? Yeah, I get like Valheim. It's a survival. What did Donnie call it? Like whacking his axe or something like that.
Survival whacking your axe.
What did he call it? It wasn't that, but we'll go with that for now. But like it's very popular and it ties into sort of like Riot Games kind of thing, like the League of Legends and that stuff. Like there should be a bigger haul there. So it's not me saying I think I'm going to play Valheim. That's not going to happen. But that is in the world of gaming, and the when Phil Spencer talks about 4 trillion gamers on the planet, I think that's the game. Those are the types of games he's talking about. So is that having its effect? I don't know, man. I just don't know about that.
Yeah, us old people, Sean, are not into that kind of game, but the youngins are into this kind of game.
And they should love subscription services as well. Like if you can't afford all the games, like you should love this sort of thing.
Makes sense.
So Valheim, I think, stands out to me. Just is not for me. And Ni no Kuni too, of course, Ryan. Yeah. Like there you go. Like that's a decent month. It's just not a podcaster's month, I think.
No. Well, none of that too. It also got hampered a little bit because Guilty Gear Strive and Ni no Kuni 2 would have been more exciting if they were closer to launch, but like Ni no Kuni 2 had been out for years. I was still doing the Game Moose podcast when Ni no Kuni 2 came out. And then Guilty Gear Strive again came out a couple years ago. It's a great fighting game, but it's one of those games too where it's like only the hardcore of the hardcore people are still playing that game because it's now cross battle across PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. So you're gonna get your butt kicked if you go online with it. So it's just one of those things where even though I think it's an incredible fighting game, it's also one that I think came a little too late to Xbox, which is why I think people just didn't talk about it.
I think I'm starting to come to this is a sad realization midway through here, Ryan, that as podcasters, we all don't play enough different types of games. And that's sad. Like, we really do have, not us necessarily, but like the grand commenters on the industry have this funny way of really almost dictating what gets promoted, what games actually get made. Once people stop caring about real-time strategy games, like they just fell off the face of the earth. And I was very, very briefly, I'll talk about it hopefully more next week. I fired up Everspace 2 because I actually have a flight stick. I got it for my birthday last year. I haven't used it yet. But like flight games, like flight simulator type games or fight combat, dogfighting, that kind of stuff, like that's all I played back in the day. Yeah. So yeah, I want to, I don't know exactly what I do with this, but I'm just recognizing how limited in scope often the games that we play in podcast land kind of are. Yeah. That's why it's great to have you. Because if it wasn't for you, we'd all just be talking about, I don't even know.
Yeah. Because I was going to say, like, I know, and again, Mr. Badbit points it out, I don't like to, point out, help Mr. Badbit's ego. But I also recognize that Badbit and I feel like play a large quantity of genres of games. Like I, for example, play a lot of fighting games. I play real-time strategy games. I play RPGs. I play your platformers, your third-person and first-person shooters. I pretty much play every kind of genre out there. But there's also lots of stuff that I don't play. Like I don't play MOBAs. I don't play like a lot of online service games beyond the two that I really am into. Like I definitely have my limits as to what I do. So like not everyone's perfect. There's just, I feel like there's too much content out there at this point to really be able to play everything or play every genre. That's just,
and my commentary is never on any individual, because to your point, of course, no one person can carry the load. It's just, there's a lot of podcasts and podcasts have more than one person on it. So like I could do a better job of it. We could bring in more voices for other games that are included over there. PSVG, I think, does a great job of this as well. Yeah. Just all the different types of games. So yeah, I don't know, just top of mind as we run through this list, and you hear commenters on the industry going like, who cares? Like, well, I think a lot of people do care about Valheim, know?
Exactly. So. Well, again, a lot of these games too, people might not play them right away when they come to Game Pass, but I've seen it in our community where people will pick up games like 6 or 8 months after they come to Game Pass and then play them and then talk about them.
That's what we need to bring to the show, Ryan, is actually through the Discord, because through the power of the Carpool Gaming Discord, there is a tremendous amount of conversation going on. So yes, we want to know people. Jump in the Discord. This is your call out. This is your call to arms. Let us know, not the game Arms on Switch, which is great. Call to arms is what are you playing in the on Xbox? Like, let us know. And what is it on Game Pass that has you excited? Doesn't have to be the latest and greatest, because Lord knows that ain't me, except for Diablo 4 on Thursday and Friday.
You better believe it.
So excited.
Or Street Fighter 6, where I'm very seriously contemplating getting a fighting stick for. Like, I don't have one on Xbox, but I'm seriously.
I'll talk about it next week. Like my brain is broken on the flight stick. Like, I've really got to be thinking about the controls on this. So, and I've never been able to really handle a flight.
Whereas I actually really like arcade sticks for fighting games, but I've just for whatever reason, I've always played with the DualSense, and that's been fine. But
give me a Super Nintendo controller.
Yeah,
that's all I need.
All right, let's talk about April real quick, Sean, because April, I feel what you talked about earlier with February. This is kind of how I feel about April. Some of the highlights are Ghostwire Tokyo finally coming to Xbox, NHL 23, because of course it did, Minecraft Legends, which Court and I did the review for, and then The Last Case of Benedict Fox, which looked really promising at that Xbox showcase, but did not deliver.
And you know what, Ryan? I really looked at this, and the one that I just mentioned, the one I will play, and really the only one I intend on playing, is Everspace 2, because I'm a big dork and I read in PC Gamer magazine that, and this is also only on PC. This isn't a console game, as far as I could see. I saw it on PC Gamer magazine. This is Diablo in space, so I'm in. So little light. Ghostwire Tokyo should be good. Doesn't have my interest at all. That's actually not really what I wanted out of that studio, unfortunately.
Plus, again, it just doesn't hit the same way, I feel, after being out for a year on PlayStation. And then kind of coming out in this big kind of year where we do have, so many big games coming out right now, it kind of gets lost in the shuffle.
Well, and I wonder about that, Ryan, because it launches into Xbox, and in a year where another side conversation of this on the state of Xbox is if enough first party stuff has come out. Right. So I don't know if beggars can be choosers on that front, if you know what I mean. This is launching into Xbox, and sure, it was somewhere else first, but it's a first party game that is now available on its platform. So I feel like that should be a big deal, but maybe you're right. Maybe a lot of people own both consoles and they've already played it. Anybody who would play it would, but
I will say, shout out to Luke Lore, the Insipid Ghost. Twitch.tv/Insipid Ghost. He went back and played it, for the first time when it came to Game Pass and was tweeting about it. So I saw him at least being really excited about it. So at least, there's one person in the community I know who played it.
A lot of people like it. It's just, for me, I don't know what it is. There's something about it that doesn't really capture my attention. But yeah, I looked through this whole list of games and it's Everspace 2. That's the only one.
Yeah. Blaze Blue Cross-Tag Battle, by the way, really great fighting game as well. If you like Marvel versus Capcom, it's basically Blaze Blue crossed over with Persona, crossed over with Ruby, the TV show, crossed over with some other fighting game franchises, and it's super fun. It's very fast. You tag out your partners. Again, it's basically Marvel versus Capcom, but with, anime characters, and it's a ton of fun.
Man, that's part of it too, though, right? I wonder if we do start doing extra mile stuff here on the YouTube channel. Is there a set of trailers every month? Whenever they do this, I want to watch just the trailers, and we just live react to the trailers of the games that are coming to Game Pass. So I get at least a sense. All I get are the box art covers, which maybe there's a whole other topic to talk about. Box art sucks now. There's just not really great box art that much these days. But maybe that's something we could do. It would take us 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops, and just live react to the games. And I can complain all I want about the rest of the industry, but maybe we can do something like that.
I mean, box art went downhill after Mega Man 9 came to Xbox.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, absolutely.
But, you're right. I feel like the box art doesn't tell the whole story, especially because for full transparency, a lot of times we do get codes for ID at Xbox games, Sean. And just reading the description or looking at the box art for those who are I have no idea what this game's supposed to be. So
yeah, it's tough.
I feel like something like that would really help with.
When I quit my job, I'll play. I'd love to do even once a month or twice a month or something like that. Just run through a bunch of those indie games just to give them that spotlight.
That's something we would do if we actually had infinite time, because I feel like that would be a fun show that you and I could do together. But
all right, write it down. Patreon goal
on the whiteboard, Sean.
Yep. On the way.
Yeah, let's talk about May, Sean.
Because, May bangers in May, Ryan.
Because of course we got Weird West. You got Fuga Melodies of Steel 2.
Oh my god.
Chicory, A Colorful Tale, and of course, Sean, Redfall. Redfall
Yeah. Redfall is funny because that it drags the rest of the list down.
It really does. Because
NHL. Actually, I lied. I think I only said Everspace 2 in the last month. NHL 23. That's a good get.
Yeah,
those continue to be good gets. FIFA 23 here in May, also a good get. People are pumped about Planet of Lana, and that has my attention. That's probably my top pick here in May, but everything else, and maybe it's ignorance on my part, but that's kind of the only one.
Yeah. Chicory, Seth points out in the chat, Chicory was a Game of the Year contender 2 years ago. And I actually think it's a pretty strong title as well. Also,
a lot of people love it.
Fuga Melodies of Steel too. That game was a day and date game.
Your mouth, Ryan.
That game is an Advance Wars like game. And I've been seeing nothing but great reviews for it because it's on OpenCritic. I think it's sitting on 85 on OpenCritic right now, as far as reviews. So that's actually a really well reviewed game that I just haven't got to. And I know Garrett wanted to play it at some point, but he hasn't had a chance to because he's in China. But that's another one.
Lucky.
Keep your eye on.
I do want to check it out. It was just one that I don't know. I haven't leapt to it, but I have seen they played it in the Backtrackers, the community driven video game book club in our Discord, which is free to join. You don't even have to be a patron to join our Discord, Ryan Turford. You don't have to do that. People join all the time. Free. We can do a shout out every week to welcome people into the Discord.
Yeah,
people are doing it all the time. All right, you keep going. I'll see who's.
Yeah. So May, probably one of the most disappointing months.
Yeah.
But then, Sean, let's talk about June. We got the new June update today. And here's what's coming. Car Mechanic Simulator 2021. Slayer's X Terminal Aftermath.
That's a video game.
Amnesia: The Bunker, which is actually a day-and-date release. This is the newest game in the Amnesia series. It takes place in a World War I bunker, and it's kind of like Alien Isolation, of course, your favorite style of game, Sean. So probably not for you. Rune Factory 4 Special, which is a farming game, and then Stacking, which is an old Tim Schafer joint coming Xbox Game Pass as well. That's not a very strong way to start off June, Sean, I would say.
No, but this is one I feel like I'm having a little bit of deja vu. There's Amnesia in there, but I'm having deja vu.
Yeah.
This has got to be this is drop 1 of 2 for June. Of course, we have the showcase coming up and teaser for it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be next week, Ryan. We're doing our predictions for what we expect to see, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'm not freaking out about June just yet.
Yeah,
I think there could be other games. There will be more. There likely will be shadow drops, happening on the 11th. I imagine, maybe we'll get into our predictions. I think there'll be at least one shadow dropping into Game Pass.
I think so too.
Watch it be freaking Hollow Knight. If it's Hollow Knight, oh my gosh. No, they actually said it's going to be later on this year. So it can't be Hollow Knight.
They ended up delaying Hollow Knight. It's coming out later.
It's not even coming out this year. I'm not even worried about it.
That's also true. We should have counterpicked it. I don't know what we're doing. So kind of to round out this conversation, Sean, I marked down the games that we know are coming to Game Pass as well later this year.
Oh, nice. Good one.
Just have a quick roadmap as to what we know about at this point in time, time of this recording. So July 14th, Capcom game day and date, Exo Primal. This is the one with the dinosaurs that call down from space.
Yeah,
shoot them.
Capcom's on fire this year. That's cool.
That beta, though, was rough for Exo Primal.
Oh, no. Another one. We can't have bad games come to Game Pass, man.
But again, it's Capcom, so I have faith that they might be able to turn this around. But
come on, Capcom.
It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know about that game. August 18th, though, a game I'm a little more excited about, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre comes to Game Pass based off the hit movie series, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, made by the Friday the 13th folks, which is a game I really like. So I'm actually excited about that one.
Good for you.
September 6th, Starfield. We don't need to say anything about Starfield. We'll talk about it more during the
Starfield's getting delayed to November 11th, man. I'm telling you, dude, it's totally getting delayed. Are you kidding me? I don't believe that date for a second.
And then we've got some TBA games, Sean. We don't have release dates for these, but Lies of P is supposed to be coming out in August, but of course it might be getting delayed. Forza Motorsport, Hollow Knight Silk Song, Replaced, Stalker 2, and Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. That's that Suikoden turn-based RPG that I'm really excited about. So,
and does this include the games that people were harping on the last showcase? These are the games that are coming within the next 12 months, and there's not 100% of those games.
I made sure to only include games here that are still slated for a release date of this year.
Seth says Slayers X, the Hypnospace Outlaw spinoff.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Neither do I. Explain yourself, Seth.
I mean, it's not based off the anime series The Slayers, featuring Lena Inverse. She's a magician, and she uses this powerful spell called the Dragon Slave that then blows up entire towns. And it's like a fantasy comedy show. It's an anime. It's really good.
Your brain is just a spectacular place. It's a spectacle, man. Well, okay, so that's cool. I feel like that also feels a little bit light as far as what is coming.
Part of that is because I imagine we'll get more than that announced at the showcase next week.
Agreed. Yeah, totally. And maybe that's the way. That's by design. That's probably, if I'm being honest, that's probably what they should be doing. They shouldn't really have this super long roadmap. And there's so many games that are dated for 2023 that aren't dated any more specifically than that, which I think is fascinating. And by the way, the PlayStation Showcase had a 4% rate of giving you a date. Was there 2 games that gave you an actual date? Everything else for 2023 and one for 2024. Well,
actually, not a lot of games just didn't even have a release year tied to them. They just had no date on them.
What's Metal Gear? Is it 2023?
There's no.
We're getting. Holy crap! Okay.
No, anyway, the Metal Gear collection.
The collection is the summer.
Is this year? Is autumn?
Yeah.
So this
autumn.
Fall. Yes, they just said autumn. 2023.
Oh, maybe I was thinking August. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So
we'll wait to see what's coming the rest of this year, Ryan Turford. The other thing that I kind of was thinking about was, and I don't know if are you good for time? Are we okay?
I don't have to go to sleep anytime soon. As long as you don't need to go to sleep anytime soon, Sean.
I'm all just riled up on this Game Pass thing, man. I just want it to be better. Yeah, no, I think that there's something that I'd love to highlight games that are great and currently in Game Pass. And that's something often we get the question, like, what are your top games in Game Pass? Maybe now is an appropriate time to review some of those. Because I think what you'll find is there's a tremendous amount of games in Game Pass right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's worth something. The other thing I was thinking about was like games that I wish had come to Game Pass, because we can look at these lists and go like great list, not great list, like good month, not good month. But like, what did we expect to happen? I guess is the other way of looking at it. Like, would we expect Star Wars Jedi? What was the new Star Wars Jedi?
Jedi
Survivor. Like, that's never coming to Game Pass day one anyways.
No, that would never. Well, I mean, that's also, you have to remember that's outside of Xbox's control. That is a EA decision specifically, right?
Yeah, well, but they would have to, like, this is kind of what I mean. Like, obviously, there's no other first party stuff that automatically goes into Game Pass. So, like, what deals is Xbox doing to bring more into Game Pass? Like, we just went over the list of games that actually happened. I don't know, Ryan, if you have any mentions of games you wish came to Game Pass that kind of makes sense, whether they came out this year, day and date, or even games that came out last year.
Yeah, so I will say, first off, I actually think there's going to be some games I'm going to save for next week's prediction episode as far as games coming that I think will be on Game Pass that make sense for Game Pass. But as far as games earlier this year, honestly, the one kind of miss from me anyways is not that I know they could have done, is like Octopath Traveler 2 could have been a Game Pass game like the first
good
game
one.
was. But it not only did not come to Game Pass, it just didn't come to Xbox. Just because. So it's just like, that's one that I identified right away. That could have been one. In fact, actually, a lot of the ones I think about that kind of fit in this category didn't come to Xbox, because I think a game like the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters would have been really awesome in Game Pass.
That was on my list, definitely, for PC before, and now obviously they're not even on Xbox, so same situation as you said.
Yeah. Or even I still can't believe, Sean, it is the year 2023, the year of our Lord, and Tales of Arise is still not in Game Pass. Scarlet Nexus is. They came out the same year, but Tales of Arise not on Game Pass yet somehow.
Tales of Arise does go on sale for like $4 every once in a while, or $12.
It doesn't make sense. It's not in Game Pass at that
Get it in Game Pass, man. You're absolutely right about that. Yeah, no, I'm with you on every single one of those. Octopath Traveler 2, I think, would have been a big get. Day and date. Maybe it'll still come a little bit later. Here's one, Ryan, that'll maybe just make you shake your head, and people will think that I'm just absolutely crazy on this. It has been a year and a half. I think it's been a year and a half since Elden Ring was released.
They would never write
down the money.
Just the check they would have
write
to
the check. Write the check. It's a year and a half, and you know what? Who knows? That could be a big get for this showcase next week.
The thing is, with Elden Ring, the difference between that and other games that have been, out that long, though, is that game does not go on sale. So
that's true.
It's kind of like the Zelda situation where like that, or Nintendo first party situation.
It knows what it is.
It knows what it is, and it isn't going on sale. So the check they would have to write to get that game would probably be too big to have that come to Xbox.
Okay, how about something more reasonable, Ryan? How about Far Cry 6?
Yeah.
You got Far Cry 5 on there. How about Far Cry 6? That'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty decent.
I think that would be decent, as the kids say.
Neon White is not on Xbox yet. It's been rumored, but Neon White into Game Pass would be real good. Cult of the Lamb would be awesome on Game Pass, and people would they would crush for that. Marvel's Midnight Suns should join. I think Guardians of the Galaxy is on Game Pass.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy was on Game Pass. I think
it just left. So, I mean, you could bring that back. That'd be good. But I think Marvel's Midnight Suns would also be good. Any 2K sports games, like let's put them right alongside the EA stuff. Give me the golf, give me the wrestling.
Bring in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands from last year.
Oh, that's a great get. Yes, good call. I like that very, very much. Yeah. Yep, that would have made this year a little bit better as well. Or the game I just played, Ryan, Dead Space remake. Yeah. Like I think that could have made sense in a way. I don't know what.
Yeah, I guess it's an EA thing. It's different.
I know, but they could just plunk down that money. You haven't had that $69 billion withdrawn.
I think it works differently though with them, because I think they're not open to any of those deals because of the way that EA Play is tied into it, where they would basically have to offer it on EA Play and not on Game Pass.
Yeah,
which I don't think they want to do. I think that's the difference.
I know,
or at least that's the way they play ball. Again, it makes sense from a logic point of view, but I think that's the way they think about it.
So, and I don't know if you have any more, but I guess where I land on this is, I don't know if there's anything else. Like you can kind of sense I'm reaching.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm reaching for this kind of stuff. I agree with you. Final Fantasy Pixel remasters for PC, maybe even like Tales of Symphonia remaster, which I don't even think landed all that well, but I think fits well.
It got a 59, Sean.
Yeah, so maybe not so much.
But I think it could have been a Game Pass game because it's also one of those games that, although I think that game's apparently selling pretty well. So I don't know if Bandai Namco wanted to do that, but Tales of Arise should have been there first before Tales of Symphonia.
Just even on the Japanese games front, like I think that's the thing. Like, is that going to continue to be a focus? And is Game Pass the way in? Persona is there, of course. And we mentioned a few of these games, SD Gundam Battle Alliance.
Well, one I was going to say, Sean, that I talked about last year, one of our highest rated games, by the way, we had in our Fantasy Critic versus the Trophy Room, AI the Somnium Files Nirvana Initiative should have been on Game Pass because the first game's on Game Pass, but not the second one. They never brought it to Game Pass, and that game's starting to go on sale a lot now because it did not sell well, and that could have been a good Game Pass game.
Yeah. So yeah, and I'd love to know people's comments below. What should have come to Game Pass? What would have maybe changed the perception that may be kind of conjuring up here? What I'm hoping to do is like dispel that a little bit, because I actually think there's not much more that could have been done on the Game Pass front to really change things out. All the other big games are exclusives. Like there's Hogwarts Legacy, but that doesn't make any sense.
There's also a lot of games too that, like, the reason why I struggled for older games was a lot of them have come to Game Pass and then left Game Pass.
Yeah, maybe that's the other thing is that the games that are leaving Game Pass are hitting hard.
Yeah, because we're seeing a lot of those games that left Game Pass starting to pop up on PlayStation Plus. In like the Tomb Raider trilogy as like the most famous example I can think of. There's a bunch of games that are like that are leaving Game Pass and then going to PlayStation Plus instead. But yeah. So do
you want to wrap with games that are good on Game Pass and why people should maybe not totally turn their back on Game Pass? Man, come on, dude.
Sure. But I didn't write any of these down, so you should go first, Sean.
Good. Ryan. One of my favorite games of all time. Of all the times is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and right behind it, Assassin's Creed Origins, that they're on Game Pass. Ori and the Blind Forest, Will of the Wisps on Game Pass. Forza Horizon 5 on Game Pass. Mass Effect Legendary Edition, all three Mass Effects in a really great remaster on Game Pass, and nobody talks about that, dude. That's a crime. There's many more that I have here, but I'll take a breath. Just kind of give your thoughts on that as you're also looking
Those are pretty good, Sean. Those are some good picks. Those are some of the ones I probably would have said. I'm surprised you didn't say Vampire Survivors, Sean.
Oh, dude, that's in capital letters on my list. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Outriders. I'm a stand for Outriders. Not too many people
I was about to mention too. Was Outriders.
TMNT, Shredder's Revenge, The Evil Within 1 and 2 are excellent. People should play like that. Give me more Evil Within. That is so good. The Outer Worlds is excellent. If people want a Fallout type of game, Yakuza Collection, Vampire Survivors, of course. The Wolfenstein games are all there. Oh my God, Doom, all the Doom games.
So much. It's so
all
much.
The Dragon Age games, all the Fable games, all the Fallout 4, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and Fallout New Vegas.
The best part, if you go back to PC, Sean, you get even the old like id Software games like Heretic and Hexen and a bunch of weird stuff like that too. That isn't on Xbox.
Yeah, PC, dude. I wasn't even looking at the PC Game Pass, to be honest with you. So there could be things I'm missing there. Yeah, Grim Fandango, Psychonauts 1 and 2 are in there. Like, Game Pass is the real deal. Is really what we're coming to here. And it just is. It focuses too much on 6 games at a time, once or twice a month, and that's it. And I just feel like it's not enough. There's got to be a better way to promote this thing, better way to highlight these games. Immortals Phoenix Rising, Hollow Knight, Hi-Fi Rush is one of the best rated games of the damn year. Inside is on Game Pass, from Playdead Games, the guys who made Limbo. Like, this is the real deal. These are my picks, Ryan Turford.
The real answer is just go play Full Throttle from Tim Schafer and Double
Full
Fine.
Throttle, no kidding.
Old LucasArts game. I really enjoyed that game a lot. Quake 4, I'm a big fan of as well.
You're getting the deep cuts with Ryan.
I will say It's too bad that most of the Danganronpa trilogy is left, but now we currently have
That's not so
Danganronpa
bad.
3, which is the best one. So there's definitely that to go play. The Ninja Gaiden Sigma collection. If you want to play 3 really good Ninja Gaiden games.
You think that'd be more popular with a certain sect of the internet these days?
Well,
that
Sigma collection
males.
I will say that collection is a little bit worse than the backwards compatible version. But for example, if you are only playing on PC, that's the only way you have to play those games. So you got that. Chained Echoes, which is a
Chained
really
Echoes
RPG that came out last year that was day and date that a lot of people kind of missed because it came out in December. And of course, Sean, the GOAT Anthem is also on Game Pass as well. You can go play Anthem.
What are you doing to me? We're being real here.
Psychonauts 2. Go play Psychonauts 2. Go play
Death's Door.
Please.
Death's Door's on Game Pass.
And also, Sean, Marvel's Avengers is on Game Pass, and I'm not joking about that one. I actually really like Marvel's Avengers campaign, and it's worth it just play the campaign alone for Marvel's Avengers and then put it down. Death Stranding, Sean, also on PC Game Pass.
Holy crap! Is it really?
It is on PC Game Pass. Yes.
Oh, I love that you're looking at PC Game Pass. That's awesome, dude. Persona, of course, we mentioned before. Persona's on Xbox. Oh my
Persona 5, 3, and 4 all on Xbox.
Oh my god! How are we? And we're missing that somehow.
Who knows? We may see more Persona at the Xbox showcase. Wink, wink.
I love your thinking on that, Ryan. And this whole Asus Rogue Gaming, the portable thing that Donnie and I were talking about on Sweet Hangs, that people can listen to at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. I think that could unlock a whole other side of this whole Game Pass, portable gaming thing. Of course, Steam Deck is there, but I hear it's a mess. So who knows, dude?
Yeah, who knows? Could be
Pentiment. You liked Pentiment? I want to get into
really
Pentiment.
like Pentiment. In fact, it was cool because at the event tonight we were talking about Pentiment, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm around people who actually like Pentiment." We got to talk about Pentiment. I found the people who like Pentiment, Sean. I'm so excited.
Super fun. I mean, we could go on. I don't know if you're finding any more. I love the PC game, the PC gaming that you're bringing.
I feel like we've got a pretty good list there. We just listed off 30 games, so for people to go play.
That's pretty good. Oh, Kevin from Save the Game Media would kill us if we didn't say Plague Tale Requiem.
No, we don't need to mention that. But the first game's not on Game Pass, though. You need the context. You need to play the first game to play the second one.
Plague Tale just got their 60 frames patch, and it's got to be worth something.
Yeah. So then, Sean, to round out this conversation, before we go to listener questions, because we still have listener questions to round out the show,
what?
What do you think of the year that Game Pass has had so far? Like, if you had to add a later grade 2 this year in Game Pass so far, what do you think?
Well, I think it's probably in a B, maybe B minus. And I think maybe where we can go in future, Ryan, we can pin this, is comparing the years of Game Pass. Seth and I were talking about this with Nintendo. I think that's an interesting one. Shout out to Drew Agnew from the House of Mario podcast. He does an excellent job. If you like Nintendo at all, definitely check out Drew's podcast. He did a show about a year ago, maybe more, where he rated the years of Nintendo Switch, and he ranked them. He basically tier listed 2017, which had Breath of the Wild and Splatoon 2 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Mario Odyssey. It was a great year. And then he compared all the other years to that. It was a very cool thing. And I think about that with this and maybe other years of Game Pass, I think would be really interesting. But I seem to remember, and that conversation could prove me wrong, that I feel like other years were stronger. I feel like there were times where we would announce games that were coming to Game Pass and we'd be like, I can't believe this is happening.
When Back 4 Blood got announced for Game Pass, as an example. Even though we didn't end up really enjoying Back 4 Blood when it finally came out, that was a big get at the time.
Perfect Game Pass game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think, where are you at? I'm somewhere around B minus. I'm not too hyped, but it's good.
I say it's probably a B. Just flat B, not B plus, not B minus. Just a flat B. I think it's been a good year. Not great, kind of in the middle is what I would say. It's definitely higher than a C. And it's definitely lower than an A. So that makes it a B.
Totally makes sense. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I wish one of us had pitch perfect, perfect pitch, where you just say sing a B, na 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 B B B B.
And that's how you folks can tell it's an hour 18 into the show and it's Xbox Drive after dark. But let's get into our listener questions, Sean, because we got a couple of these, and they should go pretty quick. So we got Nagachaka, who asked the first question: what's the worst thing about this year's upcoming Xbox showcase, and why is it the fact that there's no Xbox Fan Fest in Toronto, which means no carpool gaming community?
That is it.
That
is terrible. Yeah, I agree with that.
Because everything else is promising, I would think, with the showcases here.
I'm worried about two things, Ryan. I'm worried about two, and this gets into our predictions maybe a little bit. Personally, I wouldn't be impacted, but people will explode. I think Starfield's getting delayed. I don't think they're hitting September 6th, and they're going to tell us ahead of time. Or maybe like a week, like 4 days before, like just a heads up, we're moving the date. And or motorsport. I'm a little worried about motorsport. That could be 2024. So that could be the worst parts of that.
I feel like the worst part will be when they inevitably bring up Redfall and talk about its 60 frames per second patch in the showcase.
I think you're right. Yeah.
That'll probably be the worst part. But actually, no. The true worst part is I wish there was an Xbox Fan Fest in Toronto.
It's such a negative question, actually.
No,
it just, like,
and we usually don't take the negative questions, but I also felt like Nagachaka's heart was.
That's not what he meant. That he just it's too bad we're not going to be able to get together for this, because that was super fun last year.
Absolutely. Well, Court Lalonde asked the question. Actually, Court asked 2 questions, but we're going to transition his into the second question to someone else's. Court asks, if the rumors about Fable are true, would you need gameplay to feel better about the progress of this game? Now, it's not so much rumors so much as Xbox posted a tweet with a video being like pretty much blatantly saying that Fable is at this event.
It's them following like a trail of glitter, which is a mechanic within the Fable games that leads you to your objectives.
With the whimsical music from Fable in the background of said tweet.
They got to be careful on this, man. I don't think that they're far along on it. But I mean, all we've gotten before is a CG trailer, basically a glorified JPEG. Honestly, it wasn't even really a CG trailer. Between that and Avowed, very similar kind of reveals in the past. Lachlan in the chat says, I want to know who's going to clean up all that glitter. I hate glitter.
It's a lot of glitter.
The worst. I don't know, man. I am worried about that. But at the same time, we'll talk about this next week, I'm sure. I do think it's important for Xbox to show us the roadmap, even if it's not crystal clear. Fable's coming out on October 14th, 2024. Like I feel like that's okay. Maybe that's me being a homer on this stuff. I think it's okay. PlayStation did it all PlayStation 4, the entire generation. Like, you'll get Death Stranding. It's a thing. And we'll talk about it at every showcase, and who knows when it's coming out.
My favorite was when Kojima came out and be like, Death Stranding will release before the 2022 Olympic Games. And that was it. That was all the release date you needed. It was.
I love it.
I
think we should be okay with that. I wish we were more okay. And people are they demand specific dates, and then they get mad when those dates don't get hit. And it's like, dude, that's why
with Fable, honestly, all I can expect is just them to just say 2024 and no date attached to it if it's coming out next year.
Give me a little gameplay. What does it look like? Like, is it a character creator kind of thing? Like, what are the main mechanics or the moral mechanics of this?
Sean, I don't know if you remember, but 2 years ago at the Game Awards, we got that gameplay demonstration of Hellblade 2.
Yes,
and we literally haven't even seen anything else about it besides that one gameplay.
That's okay, Hellblade's coming out this year.
But I mean, I'm just saying that might be the type of thing we see from Fable here, like a short snippet of gameplay, like we saw with that demonstration that Hellblade did, and just calling it a day and being like, all right, we'll see you when we see you with this game.
Yeah, I could see that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I would personally be fine with. Like, I would prefer actually they don't attach to a date to it, and like unless it's a release year and nothing else kind of thing.
I mean, the thing is, like, with that though, Ryan, it's a high bar you have to set. You don't have to show much, but it does have to instill confidence and excitement. They still have this like mystery kind of and mystique going on. Fable's coming and people know that they like Fable. That's it. That's good enough right now. But if they show you something like they showed you with Starfield and it looked like No Man's Sky, and now people are comparing it to No Man's Sky because of course they are, you can't blame them. So if the first reveal has to be good, like capture, is it funny? Is it like, tell us more. Does
you
it
only get to do
amazing?
First impressions once, John?
When was the last time, this is maybe another question, like when was the last time you saw a gameplay reveal for an Xbox first party game and you're like, holy crap, look at that. Like, it's remarkable. It looks so good.
I can tell you it was Gears 5 was that game for me. Like, it looked
like a long time ago, dude. That was a long Xbox One.
Yeah. Well, Xbox One was
One X. Sean. Xbox One X. I mean, the point is, like, we talk a lot about comparing to PlayStation, and of course they've got single player narrative action adventure like locked down. But you know what else they have locked down, Ryan? Is like games that pop your eyeballs out of your skull.
Yeah. Like when we watched that Spider-Man 2 gameplay showcase to on stream together. Like that.
Totally. Final Fantasy 16, I think, looks incredible.
There's that too.
For me, to the answer to my own question, probably is Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's as close as it gets for me. And
that
it looks
was
great.
also Xbox One generation too, though.
Yeah, I mean, it came to PC. We need that. I want to see these 12 teraflops. I want to see the most powerful console. Like, and we're years into it. Like, where are these teraflops? Like, show me the teraflops, man.
Show me the teraflops.
Show me, like, give me Doom, like Doom 2023 with 200 frames a second.
I don't say Doom, Quake. Sean. We want Quake. We want Quake 2023.
Whatever it is. If Quake is the new showcase on that front, because I think id Software, I've said this a million times before, I think that's what that can be. Like, let that acquisition of that studio bring the power, bring the engine power, because PlayStation's crushing it over there with this stuff, man.
Yeah. All right. Next up, the Muffin Mon, aka Kevin Ainsworth, asks the question: what classes are you all rocking in Diablo 4? I'll be making my barbarian, and I'm going to be a tank. So there you go. Diablo 4 is coming tomorrow, Sean. I actually privately reached out to our group in the Discord and asked about this, and I only got an answer from Seth, so I don't actually know what you're going to play.
I don't know what I'm going to play either. I don't even know what the options.
So you got a sorceress who's like a magic user. You got the necromancer who is also a magic user who summons skeletons to fight alongside you. You got the druid, which uses magic and melee attacks, so you can turn into like a werewolf, or you can summon a tornado.
That sounds good.
You got the barbarian who uses a whole bunch of weapons, and they're like a tanky character, so they can take a lot of hits.
I'm tempted on that.
And then you've got the rogue, which allows you to use bows and melee weapons and kind of switch between them. And you're kind of sneaky.
Somewhere between, I like the top of the list there is druid. I think necromancer is an interesting choice. I want to go barbarian, but that sounds almost boring. Like that sounds like, of course I would. That's just your standard action. It's like Soldier 76 from Overwatch. Yeah.
I don't like the barbarian either.
Well, be a druid. I could be. What are you doing?
Well, I haven't decided, Sean, because I also was like, because I'm going to level all 5 eventually anyways. So I was going to be like, I kind of, since I know I'm going to be playing with some of you guys, in the first couple of weeks, like I wanted to make sure to have like a character that no one else had, or we had less people have. So we're not all necromancers, as an example. And
that's what I'm thinking too. It just depends on what we start off with.
So
you're going to start before me.
I think Matt is actually leaning on rogue. He was telling me tonight. Okay. So I think then if you're going to be maybe the druid or the barbarian, not the sorceress. I'll probably end up being the sorceress then, because no one else I think in our little group wants to be the sorceress.
I think I need a picker wheel. I think I need like a Google choose the name thing. And in there, I think barbarian, necromancer, and druid. I'll spin between those 3. Yeah, maybe give a couple extra entries for druid.
Yeah, I know. Seth told me he's rocking the necromancer.
Diablo 4 is coming out on Xbox, and nobody knows. Nobody this is a highlight. It's a big deal. It's one of the biggest
Xbox
games
is the marketing deal, Sean, for this.
This is my weekly rant. I'll get over it eventually.
We talked about this last week.
I know.
All right, I'm getting it out of this mess. Last question, Sean, and it's even though it's 2 questions, I'm combining these 2 questions together. So stick with me. Court Lalone, first of all, asks the second question: should the cost of games factor into reviews? And then ScheiGuy asks, do you think games being on Game Pass has a bias in a review? In other words, do you think psychologically of not paying for the game should slant in a review itself? So as we do reviews here at Carpool Gaming, I can only really speak to the way we kind of approach our reviews. And I can tell you firsthand that when I approach a review, the price point does not factor into my overall recommendation for the game, because the game kind of needs to stand on its own, regardless of price. I will usually mention in the review itself that if I feel like the price point is an important detail, I will mention it in the review itself and just be aware, the game costs this, or, hey, the game is on Game Pass. You can play this without paying for it, but it doesn't factor into whether or not I enjoy a game. So I don't factor it into my decision-making on my review. So that's how I personally approach reviews, and how I feel like a lot of the team at Carpool kind of does it as well. But what do you think about this?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man, because I think it's enough to even be able to try to craft and create an opinion on a game that is true. You're trying to be objective. Of course, there's so many subjective kind of elements to that. So that's complicated enough. And then you throw on the complication of how many dollars and cents is this worth? Like, it's so difficult. I think if nothing else, it's so difficult to do. There's also fluidity in the price too. Like the price is going to go down in a month, in 6 months or something like that. So the review has to kind of be reflective of that. The review's not going to be updated when the price goes down or eventually enters Game Pass as well. So I think from a logical standpoint, that makes less sense. And really what you're just trying to do is in a review, at least the way that I understand it, is describe the game. What is it all about? Is it good? And then you leave it to the person to interpret that on their own and go look at the price tag and go, based on what I've heard and what I've seen, am I willing to drop this money for the game as I understand it? But I don't think there's any way that a reviewer should make financial decisions or recommendations for people, especially when most reviewers are getting the game for free and there's no way to take that into consideration anyways, which I think speaks to the second part of that question.
Well, not only that too, to ScheiGuy's question specifically, the main reason I don't factor the Game Pass thing into a review itself is simply because I know that there's plenty of users on Xbox, the ecosystem, whether it's PC or Xbox, who don't have Game Pass. Yeah. So it should not factor into that because even though it is an option for people, there's plenty of people out there that would just prefer to pay for their games. And that's just the way it is. So why would I factor that into my decision-making process?
I think you could say if it is available or not available. Like, I think you stay objective.
Oh, exactly. That it's usually something that's mentioned in the review, but it's not part of the decision as to whether or not I recommend a game to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there you go. So there you go. Neat. That's going to wrap things up. Yes. Thank you, ScheiGuy. Oh my God. We brought that old chestnut back. Anyways, Sean, we got to get out of here. But before we go, Sean, plugs go.
Holy cow. Well, you can find me on Twitter at Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. But more important than that, you can find me and Ryan Turford and Seth Sturgill and maybe even Matt Sawinski playing that their Diablo 4 over at twitch.tv/Carpool Gaming Live. Come join us. Come support the channel with your Twitch Prime subs. If you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime. It's a free way to support us to a huge extent. We're going to be happy to celebrate the launch of Diablo 4, which Xbox has the marketing rights for, and we just want you to know about that.
That's right. I mean, it's fine. And look, an Xbox logo appears at the end of every commercial, Sean, and that's good enough.
That's good enough.
Oh, Diablo! Yeah, I haven't done one of those in this show yet.
Yeah, so he's dead and gone, man. You can't even reference him.
Yeah,
maybe he's coming back.
As for me, Sean, you can find me by opening up your Tiger Electronics Game.com portable gaming handheld by tapping on, using the touchscreen, of course, because it's a touchscreen console, tapping on the browser app on the device, then going to the address bar, clicking on it and typing in http://twitter.com/Ryan Turford. You also find us on Twitter at Carpool Gaming, as well as right here, youtube.com/Carpool Gaming, and all podcast services around the globe. So, for Sean Capri, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 293 of the Xbox Drive. Only 7 more episodes before episode 300, Sean. And we're out. Bye.
We want to know from you, what games are you playing? You don't have to be playing the latest games, the latest, greatest games. Whatever you're playing on Game Pass, jump into that there Discord. It's free to do. You can go ahead and do it. I'm actually surprised at how long I've been doing this, Ryan Turford, because I thought I was going to give you a quick out and bye, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
No power greater than X. Thank you.